You ever have one of those moments where you're holding a piece of paper, reading it over and over, and you just know your life is about to get a whole lot more complicated? Because that was me. 17 minutes after the power company sent out a warning about rolling blackouts, standing in my living room in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, staring down at a crisp white letter from the Meadowbrook Heights Community Association. And right there in black and white was a new rule: generators banned, effective immediately. You can probably guess how I felt, but I'll tell you anyway, like I'd just been punched in the gut. I work from home, software consultant, the whole 9 yards. Power isn't just comfort, it's how I pay the mortgage. When I moved to Willow Creek Drive, nobody said a word about generators. In fact, the last owner bragged about his. He told me, when the lights go out in Iowa, you'll want one. He wasn't wrong. Couple years back, big summer storm, no power for 4 days. I ran my generator and saved the food, kept the job going, even helped a neighbor or two. So here I am reading this letter from Deborah Hutchinson, HOA president, and, the type. She signs her name like it's an official government document and writes in that tone people get when they taste just a little authority. I swear I could feel my blood pressure tick up with every sentence. Noise, property values, aesthetic concerns, that's what she wrote. And just to twist the knife, a $200 fine every day, escalating to legal action. No warning, no conversation, just a ban. And a winter storm barreling our way in 5 days, no less. It almost felt personal. I called my neighbor Marcus. He picked up, didn't even say hello. Just, "You got the letter too." Yeah, I did. Marcus was already seething. "My wife needs a medical device that runs on power," he said. "Deborah told me battery backup or go to a hotel." Can you picture that, dragging 2 kids in medical gear through a snowstorm to a hotel for who knows how long? I felt the anger bubble up in my chest. Could this possibly be legal? So I did what any stubborn Midwestern guy with a bad feeling does. I sat down and started digging through the HOA covenant. Bylaws, legalese. I spent 2 hours, highlighter in hand, digging up everything they'd ever written about external equipment and reasonable accommodation. There it was, a rule saying they need to give 30 days notice before any change to property use. Deborah's ban effective immediately. 0 days. So I wrote a long, polite but firm email. I cited their own rules, pointed out the emergency preparedness clause, asked them to rescind the ban, or at the very least hold off until winter storm season passed. I CC'd every board member I could find. You know what I got back? A one-liner from Deborah. "The board has determined this is an emergency regulation. The rule stands. No apology, no wiggle room. Violations will be enforced." You ever get so mad you just start laughing? That's where I was. I kept thinking about the last outage. October cold snap. Ran my generator 6 hours, kept it away from everyone as quiet as I could. Only person who could possibly complain was Deborah herself, since her house backs up to mine. I remembered seeing her at the window, arms crossed, just watching. I mean, this was personal. The next day I called 3 lawyers. One said, "You might get an injunction, but not before the storm." Another said, "Fight it later, but pay the fines in the meantime." The third just sighed and said, "HOAs in Iowa have broad authority. Don't poke the bear." None of it was helpful. That night, standing in my garage, looking at my $3,000 Honda generator, thinking about all the money I'd lose if I couldn't work, or worse, if Marcus's wife's equipment went down, or the elderly couple 3 doors down froze. And yeah, thinking about Deborah sitting in her warm house, probably already drafting her next letter. And that's when the idea hit me. Petty maybe. But it was something. I called my friend Jennifer. She does real estate law. "Jen, if the HOA bans generators on my property, does that extend to the street?" She laughed. "No public streets are city jurisdiction. The HOA can't touch those." Light bulb moment. My house was on a corner. The side ran along Willow Creek Drive, city maintained. If I parked my truck there, ran my generator from the bed, and snaked an extension cord through the basement window, HOA had nothing. Friday storm hit hard. Temperature in single digits, snow piling up faster than you could shovel. Power died at 1:15 a.m. I slipped on coveralls, boots, gloves, hauled my generator to the truck, fired it up right there on Willow Creek, ran the cord through the basement, lights on, heat, roaring, coffee brewing, while the whole street sat dark. I stood in my window, cup in hand, watching snow whip past the glow of my porch. Even Deborah's house was blacked out. I gotta say, I felt a little bit of satisfaction. Next morning, someone pounded on my door at 8:30. No prizes for guessing Deborah. Red-faced, fake fur collar looking like she'd just bitten a lemon. "Mr. Kelly, you are violating HOA regulations." I smiled. "Good morning, Deborah." "Cold out, isn't it?" She snapped. "Generators are banned." I pointed out the window. "My generator's on city property. If you want to revise the regulation, talk to the city council. Good luck with that." She sputtered. "Threatened fines, accused me of being difficult. I'm just staying warm and working like you said, except I'm not paying $200 a day for your preferences." She stormed off, slipped a little on my icy walk tires, spinning as she drove away. I watched her go, feeling vindicated. Not even an hour later, Marcus called. "Deborah's furious." "What did you do?" I explained. He burst out laughing, then asked if I'd help him set up the same thing. By noon, 5 of us had trucks lined up on the street, generators humming, cords snaking to our houses, all perfectly legal, all outside Deborah's reach. I saw her drive by twice that day, glaring like she could set fire to us with her eyes. The power was out for almost 2 days. We weathered the storm warm and safe. Then came the HOA meeting. Let me tell you, it was packed. You'd think we were giving out free money. Deborah tried to bang the gavel and get control, but people were fed up. Margaret, who must be in her 80s, stood up and said, "Who complained about generators exactly? Because I didn't." Silence. Nobody raised a hand. Marcus called for a vote to remove Deborah right there. Jennifer, my lawyer friend, backed him up. By the end of the night, Deborah was outvoted off the board. New president installed generator ban, suspended fines, refunded. Karma, plain and simple. You'd think that'd be the end, right? But a couple weeks later, my shed was broken into and my generator was stolen along with 3 others from neighbors who'd run them on the street. Security cam footage showed a masked figure with a distinctive walk. Cops took the report, but I had my suspicions. Deborah, of course. The police were skeptical at first, but when the same thing happened to 3 houses, they started to see a pattern. Long story short, they found the generators in a storage unit rented by, Deborah. She was arrested, charged with burglary, grand theft, the works. She went to trial, was convicted, did time. Judge told her, "You held a position of trust and you broke it." Restitution was ordered. I got my money back. Marcus did too. The new HOA board rewrote the rules. Now you can run a generator as long as it meets city code. No more secret bans, no more power trips. Deborah lost her house, her marriage, her status. I'd like to say I felt sorry, but honestly, she made her choices. The community changed, though. People started showing up to meetings, caring about the rules. The new board even set up a website so everyone could see what was happening. Marcus ran for the board. He got my vote. We had another big storm the next year. The power went out. I fired up my generator, and when Margaret came over shivering, I ran an extension cord to her heater. No drama. That's what neighbors do. Some folks say karma isn't real, but sometimes it just takes the form of community standing up, drawing a line. Deborah sat in the dark while I stayed warm, and in the end, it wasn't about a generator at all. It was about whether one person could twist the rules to serve herself, or whether regular folks like me and Marcus would say, "Nope, not today." And you know what? That's the real lesson. Stand up for yourself, even if it means parking your truck on a frozen street at 1 a.m. just to make a point. Because if you don't, those little tyrants with a gavel and a grudge will take as much as you let them. But if you do, if you draw that line, they lose their power. Every time. So here's my question for you. When is it right to bend, and when do you stand firm? Where's the line between community standards and personal rights? Would you have fought or just let it go? I'd love to hear your thoughts or your own war stories with HOAs, bosses, or anyone else who forgot what real leadership means. Drop your take below. Tell me, where do you draw the line?
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.